Hey Poohs, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'll be eating on some seafood. I have some king crab, prawns, corn, and a lobster tail. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below so you can become a whiny Pooh. Don't forget to hit the post notification bell to be notified whenever I drop new videos. Okay, so I'm back, y'all. I'm so excited to see y'all. How everybody been doing? I'm so excited to try the cheese. A lot of y'all asked me to try with some cheese. So like, all right, I'll give it a try. I don't really think seafood go with cheese, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try. I see a lot of people do it, and it looked really, really good. But then I just thought for myself, like, I don't think I'm going to like it that much. But you never know. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and get some. I don't have much seafood today. Y'all know I usually have way more than this, but I'm actually filming another video later today. So I'm trying to film more for y'all. Like, I'm trying to do like 2 videos in a day, like, because y'all know I film once a week, right? So I'm trying to film 2 videos once a week. So 2 videos in one day, you know, just to have more content, so I can have like 2 videos out there. Sometimes if I'm in a mood, I'll do, you know, another video or something, but it just all depends on how my weight looking for that week, you know. So, but anyways, look at the cheese. Oh my God, it looks so good. Look at this. Hold on, let's do a thumbnail. Didn't even do a thumbnail. Oh, it's hot. It's good. It's just not something that I'll like say, oh, I'm doing a seafood bowl, I'm gonna use cheese today. Like, it's not like that, you know. It's not for me. I mean, it's good, but I'm saying, like, I prefer the sauce more. But we're gonna see how it tastes with the king crab. Okay, so there was a guy named Abraham, and he worked in a barbershop in Lakeland, Florida. He was like the cleanup guy. He the one that cleaned up the hair and things like that. And like one day, you know, he just stopped showing up for work, and he haven't been to work in like a couple weeks. And his boss was like, "What's going on? Like, why is Abraham? This ain't burnt, y'all. It just got Dame Flavors by Dame Dash sauce on it, and I baked it with the sauce on there. So, because I know it looked burnt, but it's not burnt, I promise. But his boss was like, you know, he haven't showed up for work. Abraham haven't showed up for work for weeks, and his boss was wondering like where he at, you know, why he ain't been showing up. So his boss ended up calling him like, "Hey, Abraham, where you been at?" And Abraham was like, "Look, I hit the lottery. I hit the lottery for 30 million." So his boss, Greg, that's his name, Greg. His boss name was Greg. He was also like his friend too. And he was like, you know, like, "Man, you ain't hitting no lottery. You know, you ain't hitting no lottery for no 30 million. So Abraham told him, like, "I'm not coming back. You know, like, I'm not about to come back." So one day, Abraham pulled up to the shop, like, in a, what was it, BMW? And his boss was looking like, "Who is this pulling up to the shop?" So he gets out the car. It was Abraham. So he was like, "I told you I hit the lottery for 30 million. He was like, "Oh my God," you know. And Abraham, he bought himself like a $1.1 million home. He bought like a few cars. I think it was like a Corvette, a Hummer, and a couple other cars. Like, he was winning, okay? The one thing about Abraham, though, he couldn't read or write. Like, he didn't know anything about investing his money or anything. So, Abraham was the kind of guy that just couldn't say no. You know, everybody was asking him for, can you pass me the scissors? Everybody was asking him for money and stuff, and he just couldn't say no. You know, like, he would just loan them money and things like that. He even loaned his friend, Greg, who was also his boss at the barbershop. He even loaned him $63,000 so that Greg could pay off his mom's home, because I think it was going to like foreclosure or something. So after, we're gonna try this some king crab, y'all. Let's see. I'm not feeling it. I need my sauce. Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all. I got the butter sauce. I got some Flavors by Dame Dash butter sauce. But 11 months after Abraham winnings, he meets a lady named Dee Dee, right? Dee Dee, she ran a successful nurse staffing agency. She tells Abraham, like, I want to help you manage your money. I also want to write a book about you. Now that's it. So after 6 months of meeting Dee Dee, Abraham transferred all of everything over in her name. His home. She even took control over his bank account, y'all. Like, after 6 months. But she took advantage of that man, you know. Dee Dee, she also gave herself a vacation. This lady was just living her best life through Abraham, okay? Dee Dee will also, like, hit up people that borrowed money from Abraham, like, you know, it's time for you to pay him back and things like that. She was literally, like, running everything for Abraham. Abraham's friends started to wonder, like, where's Abraham? Like, what's been going on with Abraham? Like, where he's been, because they haven't seen him or talked to him. And Dee Dee tells him, like, well, Abraham, you know, he's laying low because he wants to get away from all the pressure of people keep constantly asking him for money and things like that. So he, you know, he's taking some time for himself. But Abraham's cousin was like, nah, that don't seem like Abraham. He went to the sheriff's department and he filed a missing person report. Because he was just like, that just don't sound like Abraham, you know? That sauce is everything, okay? So the sheriffs felt like, you know, Dee Dee has something to do with it, because they've been like following her. They've been like, they got her on like surveillance and stuff, like all the stuff that was just adding up to, like, I guess phone records and things like that. They start to see that something wasn't right, that she possibly has something to do with Abraham disappearance. They didn't know if Abraham was actually missing or if he was actually, you know, dead. They didn't know, you know. But they knew something wasn't right. Something was wrong. So Dee Dee goes to... Oh, shit. Dee Dee goes to Greg, Abraham's friend, who also was his boss, and tells him like, you know, she was crying and everything. Like, well, the police are looking, you know, the sheriffs are looking into me. They saying that I have something to do with, you know, his disappearance. And Greg was like, well, did you? And she was like, no, Abraham is just on vacation right now. He just want to get away from people and things like that, you know. She also asked Greg, like, could you do something for me? And he was like, what is it? And she was like, can you please, you know, pretend to be Abraham because his mama keeps calling me. And so Greg was like, you know, basically like, no, I'm not going to do it. So she was like, I'll give you $300 if you do this for me. So he was like, all right, I'll do it. So Dee Dee takes Abraham's mother to a loud restaurant where it'd be like, you know, like a lot of noise so she couldn't hear that it wasn't actually Abraham's voice. So while they were sitting at dinner, Dee Dee and Abraham's mother, Greg actually called and was like pretending to be Abraham. And Dee Dee was like, you should answer the phone because it could be Abraham. And so Abraham's mother answered the phone like, hello, you know, and then Greg, who's pretending to be Abraham, was like, hey mama, you know, I'm all right. And she was like, who is this? And then he was like, this Abraham. And she like, well, where you been at? He like, well, I've been out of town, but I'll be back soon. And you can tell the police that I'm okay. And she goes, okay, you know. So Greg said after the whole, you know, scene of him calling, he started to get like worried, like what's going on with Abraham. Because he really haven't heard from him. So he calls up Abraham like back to back, just calling his phone. So he said he just get a text message like, I'll call you later. And so he was like, that don't even sound right because Abraham can't even write or read, you know. So he knew he couldn't be sending him that text message. So one day the police were surveillancing Greg and they pull up on him like, you know, get out of the car and things like that. So he gets out the car like, whoa, what's going on? And they was like, we need you to come with us. So he goes down to the station and they like, you know, why are you pretending to be Abraham? And he was like, well, you know, Dee Dee paid me to pretend to be Abraham. And he was like, well, Abraham is seriously missing, you know. I don't know what's been told, but he's actually missing. And it was like, you know, could you basically do us a favor? Can you basically meet up with Dee Dee so that way we could see what happened to Abraham? They wanted him to wear a wire as well. And Greg was just like, I'm not wearing a wire. That's not my style. You know, I'm from the, you know, the hood. I know how to do things. Which I thought that was weird that he said that because most guys don't do that in the hood. You know, like, I mean, they just wouldn't say it if they did do it. Like, wire up. Like, what guy gonna say that's not how we do it in the hood? That don't even make sense. Like, you a whole ass snitch out here. Right. But he was like, well, they wanted him to wear a wire. And he told him, like, no, I'm not going to do that because, you know, Dee Dee, when I met up with her before, she was pulling on my shirt because she thought I had a wire on. So what I'll do is, he said, I'll take one of my Red Bull cans because Greg always drunk Red Bulls throughout the day. And he was like, I'll just take a Red Bull, cut the top open, put some styrofoam in there, and also put the wire in there, put the cap back on, put it in between the seats, and put it in a cup holder. And, you know, I'm going to be smoking my cigarette, and I'm going to just use it as an ashtray.
This is Greg's idea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he done did that shit before. He a whole snitch.
I thought,
For to come up with that? Who the hell come up with that?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, boy.
He's talking about the idea came to him.
Yeah, okay.
When he was drinking a Red Bull.
Fam.
You know? I thought that was a little weird. But, you know. It's good he's helping out his friend, obviously. Abraham. You know, he was good. He's helping him out, trying to figure out what happened to him. So he met up with Dee Dee. You know, he was smoking his cigarette in the car, you know, having a conversation and stuff. This is what happened between him and Dee Dee. I'm going to play the recording.
I only been talking to you because I'm trying to find Abraham.
Exactly. Well, hey, I'm all in, baby.
I feel like if Abraham was okay, he would contact me by now because he transferred all that stuff into my name, and then he was supposed to leave and, you know, not come back for a while.
So Dee Dee was saying stuff. Dee Dee also was saying stuff like, well, it could be this guy named Ronald as to why Abraham is missing. He could have killed Abraham because he was a drug dealer, and he also threatened to kill me. And so he could have, you know, killed Abraham. You know, he was threatening my life as well. So he probably had something to do with his disappearance, right? Here's another recording between them as well.
I guarantee you, Ronald has killed him. I just know it because the man threatened to kill my son. I don't even know Ronald's last name.
So Dee Dee wanted somebody to take the fall for it. So she was telling that to Greg, right? So Greg reported back to, you know, the sheriff's department and told him what was going on. So they was like, okay, well, we'll bring in an undercover cop, and, you know, you could tell Dee Dee, like, you know, this guy is willing to take the fall for it, and all you got to do is pay him. So they end up setting up another meeting in the car. The undercover cop was sitting in the back of the seat, and Dee Dee and Greg was in front, you know, in the front seats. And the cop was like, okay, I'll take the fall for it. You know, I got to do a long jail sentence anyway. So I'm cool with taking the fall for it because, you know, I'm going to be gone for a lot of years anyways. So I don't mind adding that to my sentence, right? So he was like, but I want, you know, $50,000. So Dee Dee was like, well, I can't afford that. You know, I'm going to have to sell some stuff, and can I, you know, pay, you know, weekly or something like that? And he was like, yeah, but I'm going to need $10,000 down. So she was like, okay, cool. You know, he was like, you know, I need to take care of my family. So she was like, okay, cool. That's cool with her, right? So the cops wanted one more thing for Greg to do. They wanted him to ask Dee Dee where the body was and where the murder weapon was, right? So he was like, he met up with Dee Dee again, was like, well, I'm not saying you got the gun or anything, or the murder weapon that killed Abraham, but if you know where it is, then it'll help the case. It'll help, you know, to have the murder weapon along with the person we brought in to take the fall for it. You know, he was like, I'm not saying you know where it is or got it or anything like that, but if you do, that'll help, right? So she was like, okay. And he was like, it'll also help too if you know where Abraham is, you know, it'll be even better. So she's like, okay. This sauce goes so well with seafood. So Dee Dee ended up turning over the murder weapon, which was a gun. And the police said the exact same gun that she handed over to Greg was the same gun she used at a local gun range to practice shooting. And they also have receipts for that. And they have the receipt from her buying the gun at a local gun shop in her area. So it's just so good. So one day, Dee Dee takes Greg to a property she owns, right? And Greg was like, well, don't get out. We're not going to get out the car together. Just take this little bar thing and go place it to where Greg is buried at. So she gets out the car. She takes this little bar thing and she sets it on the concrete, on some fresh concrete. And she was basically indicating that's where Abraham is buried. So that same exact day, the cops end up moving in, right? They end up immediately arresting Dee Dee. And they call somebody out there to actually dig up the concrete to see if Abraham was actually buried, underneath there. Came back that he actually was. So what Dee Dee did was she asked her ex-husband to come out to dig, a hole at her property because she was saying that she wanted to bury some trash. So he's like, okay, no problem. So he came out, dug up a hole. He said he didn't know anything about it. He thought that he was just digging up some dirt so she can bury trash, So she actually hired another guy to come in. Once she put Abraham's body in there, she hired another guy to come in to actually lay the concrete down. The guy that laid the concrete down said he had no idea. He didn't even see Abraham's body in there. He didn't see any. When they was arresting Dee Dee, she was like, well, I hope you guys find out who really did it because I didn't do it. And they was like, well, we already have one in custody, basically talking about her. Dee Dee was even trying to blame her 14-year-old son, saying that he actually was the person that killed Abraham. She went as far as to blaming her 14-year-old son. Like, that's crazy as hell. Like, you're a child. Usually mothers will protect their child. Like, why would you want your child to go to prison for the rest of his life? That's crazy to me, So Dee Dee ended up getting life with no parole, okay? True Crime ended up going to the prison to see Dee Dee to see what she had to say, and they basically was like, well, who killed Abraham? She was like, I have no idea. If I knew, I would have said something. And then she goes to say, I believe Ronald did it. So you just said you have no idea, but then you goes to say, I think Ronald did it. Like, she's still thinking this person Ronald did it, but the cops said that's all made up. She made all of that up. They said it wasn't even a Ronald, that she killed him. But Abraham was basically shot twice in the stomach. I believe he was shot. I don't think no 14-year-old boy did that. Her son didn't do that shit. She did it. She also said that the lady asked her, was like, well, how did Abraham's body get on your property? And she was like, I have no idea. And that me and Abraham actually put $1 million in that hole. And they was like, well, how did Abraham get in there instead of the money? And she was like, I have no idea. We buried money, because we was going to come back to it, later. And it was just a whole lot of stuff that didn't make sense, And the lady was like, well, who buries money? And Dee Dee was like, a lot of people bury money. You would be surprised. There are a lot of people, which she is right. People do bury money. So I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about this. his friend Greg was like, if Abraham would have never won that money, you know, he would have been still alive, you know. It's crazy. It was a crazy story. So sad. That lady took, there's a little stuff from the napkins. I hate when that happens. But it just kind of sucks, you know. That lady took advantage of him like that, and then probably killed him because they had some type of disagreement over the money. He probably actually stood up for himself and took control of his money, and she didn't like that, you know. We would never really know. So I'm gonna see what my husband think about the story. What do you think about it? You think she did it?
Man, hell yeah. Now the question is whether Greg played some type of part in it.
Yeah.
Because why would you agree to
call a mom?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, why would you play your friend like that? You knew your friend was missing. You not even missing. You knew something was wrong when she asked you
that crazy ass shit.
When she asked you the question of, can you pretend to be Abraham? Like, why do I need to pretend to be him? If he really taking a break, okay.
You
could have called.
Right.
He could at least called his mom and said, "Mom, I'm okay, but I need some time to myself."
Right.
You know, ain't nobody gonna just completely cut their mama off and not talk to their mama unless their mama did something, obviously. But from the looks of it, he didn't have an issue, you know. But I don't know. I think Greg sucks. I think he's a terrible friend. But anyways, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave and turn the post notification on. Also, give me a like. I would really appreciate it. Please put in the comments down below what you think about the story. Do you feel like Dee Dee did it, or do you feel like this imaginary person she made up named Ronald did it? And also, do you think Greg was a good friend because he did help out, you know, the situation by working with the cops to see if Dee Dee actually did it by, you know, you putting a wire into the Red Bull and things like that. I still think he's a terrible friend because he should have been trying to figure out what happened to his friend before the police even have approached him. Okay, that's just my opinion. But y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about this whole situation. For more seafood boils, please give me a like. I know y'all really, really like them. Please give me a like. Oh, and stay tuned for tomorrow's video because I have a surprise guest for y'all. Okay. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Thank y'all so much for joining. Bye, y'all.